American R&B singer, songwriter, actress, and television personality Toni Michele Braxton was born in Severn, Maryland, or Merlin, as the natives call it, on October 7, 1967. Her family, headed by a minister father and an opera singer mother, would eventually include 6 children. Toni was first in line, followed by the couple's only son, Michael Jr., and then 4 girls, Traci, Towanda, Trina, and Tamar. To say the kids were raised in a strict religious household would be an understatement, and pretty inevitable considering their father's profession. First raised in the Apostolic faith, the girls weren't allowed to wear pants or makeup, and definitely weren't allowed to have any boyfriends. All of them were also not allowed to listen to any mainstream music. That last rule was a really tough one for them to adhere to, so, not surprisingly, when the cat was away, the mice did play. Later, the family converted to the Methodist faith. The move gave the children more leeway to enjoy secular artists, and really helped Toni, in particular, develop her vocal style. Inevitably, Toni's, as well as her siblings' earliest experiences singing publicly would be in their church choir. Prior to that, though, her parents first realized that their children could blow while hearing them sing in the bathroom. Tamar, just a toddler at the time, was trying to have a private moment while doing her business. That is, until she noticed that there wasn't any toilet paper. After yelling out,
"Somebody get me some toilet paper!"
her sisters, one by one, came into the room and started singing the line in perfect harmony. Toni did attend Bowie State University in pursuit of a teaching degree, but ultimately decided to give singing professionally a try after an attendant at an Annapolis gas station where she was refueling recognized her from local performances and offered to produce her. In the late 80s, Toni began performing with her sisters in an R&B group called, fittingly, the Braxtons. They signed their first record deal with Arista Records in 1989. The following year, their first single, called Good Life, was released. Not only did it not become a hit, it didn't crack the Billboard Hot 100 at all. More disappointment followed as the Braxtons found themselves abruptly dropped from Arista's roster. Toni, though, would soon be the chosen one to make the Braxton name famous. In 1991, while Antonio L.A. Reid and Kenneth Babyface Edmonds were in the process of getting their own label, LaFace, off the ground, Toni caught their attention and ended up being signed by them as their first female solo artist. Toni's sisters weren't able to secure a deal for themselves since LaFace wasn't looking for another girl group after having just signed R&B hip-hop trio TLC. Toni released her self-titled debut album in 1993, and her career blew up immediately. The album reached #1 on the Billboard 200 chart, and the singles Another Sad Love Song, Breathe Again, and You Mean the World to Me became international successes. The project also won her 3 Grammy Awards, including Best New Artist. Toni's follow-up album 3 years later, titled Secrets, sent her career to even higher heights. She achieved her first and second #1 Hot 100 hits with You're Making Me High and Unbreak My Heart. Toward the end of 1997, though, her relationship with her label soured. Toni filed a lawsuit against LaFace Records in an attempt to be released from a contract she felt was no longer fair or equal with her status. When LaFace countersued, Toni ended up filing for bankruptcy. While many thought the move didn't make any sense since she was so successful, those same people may also not be aware that in the music industry, the artist is responsible for reimbursing the record label for all kinds of costs, including clothes, travel, studio time, and music videos. Advancements are given with the understanding that they are to be paid back. That became quite difficult to do since even though Toni's hits had made over $100 million in worldwide sales, she says her royalty check from her first recording contract was just under $2,000. With each project comes another advancement, and the debt that goes with it. That's what she said brought on the bankruptcy. That and a serious home decor addiction, plus a bank-busting flatware habit that Oprah famously brought up in an interview with the platinum-selling recording artist.
She says to me, "I hear you have Gucci flatware." I'm Oprah Winfrey and I don't have Gucci flatware.
First of all, I didn't know Gucci made silverware.
You ain't got Gucci flatware because you didn't want to buy it. It's not because you couldn't afford it. What do you mean? And immediately, she made me feel this big.
A settlement was eventually reached in early 1999, and that meant Toni was finally able to get back to work. She would just miss having another #1 hit on 2000's The Heat with He Wasn't Man Enough, coming in at #2. Over the next decade, Toni released her first Christmas album, plus 3 more studio albums. This was all done in the midst of some major highs and lows in her life. She married mint condition keyboardist Carrie Lewis in 2001. They would go on to have 2 children before separating in 2009. In 2010, Toni revealed that she has lupus, a potentially life-threatening autoimmune disease. 2 years prior, when she was knee-deep in her Las Vegas review show, she got terribly ill. She was chronically fatigued and couldn't keep her blood pressure stable. No one could figure out what was wrong with her, and she had a show to do. Toni actually just renewed all her contracts with the vendors when she got sick. After the diagnosis came down, doctors told her she would never be able to perform beyond 1 show here and 1 show there occasionally. Since she had invested her own money into the show, filing for bankruptcy a second time seemed like the best option for her to get her debts discharged. After signing with WeTV to be featured on a program chronicling the lives of Toni and her sisters, plus their mother Evelyn, called Braxton Family Values in 2011, Toni enjoyed being the star of the reality show for the next couple of years. Then, out of the blue, Toni announced that she was quitting. Not the reality show, her music career. During a press stop in February 2013 for a new Lifetime movie she has a lead role in, she told Good Morning America that she wasn't feeling the love for singing that she once did anymore. "It's not affecting me, making me feel that thing I've always felt when I perform. It's leaving me. I'm not sure what's going on in my life. Maybe a female midlife crisis? My heart isn't in it anymore. I hate to say that." She also spoke to The Griot, saying she no longer wants to record new music and would focus her attention on acting. "For what I do, I have to love it. I have to feel that excitement, and it's gone. I'm just not going to do any albums anymore. Maybe touring occasionally here and there because I love performing, but not as much as I did in the past. But no new projects." Within a year, though, she would reverse her decision, largely due in part to some words of wisdom from longtime friend and collaborator, Babyface. Toni told the LA Times, "I wasn't using my voice. I was using the voice others told me to use. But Kenny was the person who snapped me out of it. He said, 'Toni, you're forgetting you're an artist. Stop being a business manager and tell people your story.'" Another musical genius that reached out to Toni was Prince. He told her that she just couldn't retire because it was too early and she was too gifted. Love, Marriage, and Divorce, Toni and Babyface's duet album, dropped in February 2014. It went on to earn the duo a Grammy Award for Best R&B Album. So I guess it's safe to say that deciding against retirement was the right move for Toni. She then headed back into the studio on her own and came out with Sex and Cigarettes in 2018 and Spell My Name in 2020. The latter 10-track album gives fans an undiluted gem of real R&B. No out-of-place cameos, no awkward autotune, and no pseudo-rap delivery. Just pure, vintage Toni.